Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming. We are going to go over security on iWallet, a brief overview just to lay any worries you might have to rest. So, iWallet security. So, when we talk about security, what exactly are we talking about? What are your concerns when it comes to security? You know, we are talking about your money when in iWallet. We're talking about you putting your money on our platform, trusting us to take good care of it, to ensure that your payments go on as expected, to ensure that your money is kept well, to ensure that the merchants receive your money for the items you've bought, and then make sure that the items are delivered. Authentication. Authentication is one major concern for Dreamoval and the iWallet team. Authentication basically means the way we determine who is trying to access the system. So we try to ensure that the person, whoever tries to log on to iWallet, whether to log on to view your account details, whether to enter your credentials to make a purchase, we want to make sure, first of all, that you are an iWallet user. Secondly, that you are accessing the account which belongs to you. And we do that in a number of ways. We have your username and password, as Claude showed you. We also have your secret code, once again, as Claude showed you. But we also have a further step. You know, it's not everybody who would be accessing iWallet from their personal computers. Someone might go to an internet cafe. In that case, how secure is your username and password? How secure are your credentials? You don't know what might have been installed on that machine. You don't know whether there's a keylogger or somebody is, standing behind you trying to look at what you're typing. So we added an extra step of a one-time password. And what happens is when you choose to log on with a one-time password, you enter your registered email address, and iWallet will send a password to you, both on your via email and on your mobile phone. So once you receive the password, it's valid for 15 minutes. And it can only be used once. That's why it's called a one-time password. So you enter that password along with your username as your first step, and then you verify again with your secret code. Since your secret code is asked at random, 3 random digits out of the 6, it's more secure than the password, so we don't have to worry so much about that. Authorization. How do we know that you are authorized to do what you are trying to do? We need to make sure that only people who have the authorization can have the access that's required. So for instance, we have different levels of roles or levels of usage. We have merchants who have their own roles. We have customers who have their own roles. We have administrators who have their own roles and rights and privileges on the system. So we always make sure that whoever is trying to access the system is authorized to do what they are trying to do. You can only access your own account. For instance, there's no way you would log in with your details and get access to another person's account. You are only authorized to access your account details. In addition to that, other information, even the server that we store we host the site on, the database where the data is stored, all of that has the necessary rights and roles protection to make sure that only authorized users are able to get access to it.
And in addition to that, your account is encrypted for you only. And so even administrators are restricted in the way they access your account. So that the implementation of this authorization is not just at application level, but we do it right down to the bottom.
We talk about identity. So first of all, identity comes in 2 forms. Who is trying to access the system? Who are you? And what system are you accessing? Are you sure it's iWallet you're trying to get in touch with? So what happens is whenever you log into iWallet, we verify. That's why when you sign up, we verify your email address and your mobile number to make sure that the one trying to access has access to that email address. We don't want people logging in with other people's email addresses and logging them out, or preventing them from signing up. We also verify your mobile number so that you can't use somebody else's mobile number to sign up. Because now with the mobile number registration, it's an easy way to identify people, so we don't want you to steal other people's identity. Also, whenever you access the iWallet website, you have your name printed. When you log in, you have your name printed on the homepage, the accounts page. I believe you saw it when Claude did his example. Then.
And as well on the to make sure that the communication between iWallet and you is always certified, we have what we call extended validation SSL, which is basically a better form of showing the user that this website is actually Dreamoval's website. So you see Dreamoval Limited in your browser with green, which means that you are actually on our site. And on top of that, you additionally you see a GeoTrust seal at the bottom, which has the Dreamoval name on it. That seal comes directly from GeoTrust, just to certify that it is actually Dreamoval. I mean, it's actually the Dreamoval page you are on, and that seal basically updates continually. It's continuously updated, and when you click on that seal, it will take you to our page on GeoTrust. And these are ways to basically certify that you are on the Dreamoval website. The reason why we need to do this is because people can get in the middle and can create fishy websites, and they can do other stuff which kind of imitate what we are doing, and therefore went that extra mile to so that you will see that extended validity. That extended validity requires more processes. The company had to verify our registration in Ghana and everything before we get that SSL. So you know that when you get there and you see our name in the bar, then it is the iWallet site.
Yeah, so as you can see, your account information, your name is here, plus the email address you registered with. Your mobile number is also displayed once you verified it. Yeah. And then SMS notifications, you can also switch them on or off. So we would also like to encourage that whenever you access the iWallet site, make sure that the URL or the address in your browser is iwalletlive.com or iwallet.com.gh. Fraud. So fraud is another major concern of iWallet. We try as much as possible to keep the system up and running, to keep it free and clear of all kinds of ill kind of behavior, some kind of fraud or misuse. Yes, that's the word I wanted, misuse. So what we try to do, first of all, is to ensure that you can't perform certain actions that could amount to fraud, that could draw questions, especially from regulatory bodies. And we have transaction limits to make sure that only a certain amount can be paid out of your account in a day or at a time. We also look at user behavior. So we have what we call a learning system, which will view or go over your behavior and find out whether an activity being performed is along the normal behavior of the character or the person who's trying to perform it, or whether it looks fishy. Is it something else? And at that point, we can step in and maybe ask you another security credential, your secret question or your secret code again, just to make sure that you are actually the one trying to access, just to make sure that nobody has found some fraudulent way of getting access to your account.
Fraud is fueled by greed. Let's note that. And so we tried as much as possible to put in checks, but you can decide that you would up your transaction limits. You can decide so many things just because you want a bucket of gold. And so at that point, we can't do much. You can dispute a transaction, and then to go into dispute, it will go into a whole process where you can get your money back if the merchant actually hasn't already bolted. But the point is, again, fraud is usually fueled by some form of greed. You want to get something you really haven't sold. And so we advise users to be careful with purchases and to go to iWallet verified site to make purchases as well.
Another major concern is hackers. Now we've done our best to ensure the safety of our website, and we were having regular McAfee scans to just check for known vulnerabilities, known loopholes, and known let's say doorways for which hackers could enter the system and attack. We've run numerous tests, and we've as much as possible. We've cleaned out all the possible loopholes that are known currently. Technology is such that it's always innovative. Hackers always learn, and as a company that's also very concerned about security, we are also always learning. Anytime new vulnerabilities come up, we do our best to find out the best means of blocking them and implementing it. And you make sure with other things like encryption, as Henry mentioned, even if a user is able to gain access to the system, we try as much as possible to prevent the user from being able to read the data and being able to manipulate the data that we have stored. But now the question is, who is the biggest threat? When we talk about security of your account and your money, who do we have to be the most cautious about? Unfortunately, it's us. So it doesn't matter how securely our system works, it doesn't matter all the checks we put in place. If you give your username and password and your secret code to another individual and the person gains access to your account, that's it. It's like leaving your key to your house on the street for anybody to enter. We would advise that you trust nobody. We would advise that you don't give your details or your credentials to anybody. We know that we all have friends, we all have family members who we would trust and who we'd like to give our information to. That is at the user's discretion. But we would entreat you as much as possible to make sure that you keep your credentials very well and that you make sure that only yourself, if possible, or if not, only people who you are very, very close to and can trust dearly are the ones who have your account information. But preferably, please keep your details to yourself.